I thought losing my wife was the hardest thing I would ever survive.
You don't remember me,
But
do
I
you?
was wrong. The biggest surprise of my life came from a stranger who found my wallet on a busy street. Inside that wallet was nearly $5,000 in cash. Money that could have changed her struggling life forever. She was a single mother, drowning in bills, with every reason to keep it, but she returned every single dollar. When I opened my door and saw her standing there, I thought she was just an honest stranger, until she looked at me with tears in her eyes and whispered 6 words that froze my heart. "You don't remember me, do you?" What she revealed next took me back 20 years and changed both of our lives forever. Daniel Carter always believed that honesty was something people admired but rarely practiced. After losing his wife 4 years earlier, he poured every ounce of his energy into raising his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, while running a small architecture firm in Charleston, South Carolina. Life had become a routine of school drop-offs, hospital appointments for Lily's heart condition, and late nights at the office. Love was no longer something he expected to find again. His daughter was the only reason he kept moving forward. One Friday afternoon, after finishing a meeting downtown, Daniel stopped at a neighborhood grocery store to buy Lily's favorite strawberry yogurt and a bouquet of yellow daisies she loved to keep beside her bed. As he hurried through the checkout line, his phone rang. It was the Children's Hospital reminding him about Lily's specialist appointment the following Monday. Distracted, he thanked the cashier, grabbed the shopping bags, and walked out into the busy parking lot without realizing his leather wallet had slipped from his jacket pocket. 10 minutes later, Sophie Bennett stepped into the same parking lot after finishing a double shift at a nearby cafe. At 32, life had never been easy for her. She worked 6 days a week, raised her 6-year-old son Noah alone, and was only 3 days away from being evicted from her small apartment after falling behind on rent. Every dollar mattered. She constantly skipped meals, so Noah would never have to. As she pushed her old car door open, something lying beside the curb caught her attention. A brown leather wallet. She picked it up, expecting to find only an ID card. Instead, she froze. Inside was nearly $5,000 in cash, several credit cards, a driver's license, and a small folded photograph. For a brief moment, the world around her disappeared. $5,000 would pay her overdue rent, buy groceries, and give Noah the stability she had been praying for. No one had seen her pick it up. No one would ever know. Slowly, she unfolded the photograph tucked behind the driver's license. It showed a smiling man with a little girl sitting on his shoulders at a beach during sunset. The little girl was laughing. The man looked familiar, very familiar. Sophie's heartbeat quickened. She stared at his face for several long seconds before whispering to herself, "No, it can't be." Without taking a single dollar, she closed the wallet, climbed into her car, and drove toward the address printed on the driver's license. Nearly 40 minutes later, she stood on the porch of a quiet blue house overlooking Charleston Harbor. She knocked once. The door opened. The man from the photograph stood in front of her. Daniel looked tired, confused, and completely unaware of who she was. Sophie held out the wallet with both hands. Daniel's eyes widened with relief. "My wallet!" he breathed. "I've been looking everywhere for it." She smiled gently as he reached for it. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she asked the question that made him stop cold. "You don't remember me, do you?" Daniel frowned apologetically, searching her face for even the smallest hint of recognition. "I'm sorry," he admitted. "I wish I did." For a moment, disappointment flickered across Sophie's eyes, but it quickly disappeared behind a warm smile. "I didn't think you would," she said softly. "It was 20 years ago." Daniel looked at her, confused. "You were only 15, she continued. "You jumped into Lake Marion to save a little girl who had fallen off the dock." Daniel's expression slowly changed. Fragments of an old memory rushed back. A summer afternoon, children screaming, cold water, a frightened little girl struggling beneath the surface. He remembered diving in without thinking. He remembered carrying her safely back to shore before quietly walking away while the paramedics arrived. "I never even learned her name," Daniel whispered. Sophie nodded, tears filling her eyes. "I was that little girl." Silence settled between them. Daniel looked at her in disbelief. "I searched for you for years," Sophie said. "My parents wanted to thank you, but no one knew who you were. You disappeared before anyone could ask your name." Daniel gave a small, embarrassed laugh. "I skipped town the next morning for a family vacation. I never imagined anyone would remember." "I remembered," Sophie replied. She looked down at the wallet still resting between them. "Every important decision I've made since that day began because of you." Daniel stared at her. "What do you mean?" "You saved my life," she said. "That's why I became a pediatric nurse. I wanted to give children the same second chance you gave me." Daniel felt a lump form in his throat. Before he could respond, a small voice echoed from inside the house. "Daddy?" A little girl with chestnut hair slowly walked into the hallway, holding a stuffed rabbit against her chest. Sophie recognized her instantly. "Lily?" The little girl smiled politely. "Hi." Daniel looked surprised. "You know my daughter?" Sophie hesitated before answering. "I've been helping care for her at Charleston Children's Hospital." Daniel's eyes widened. "You're one of Lily's nurses?" She nodded. "I recognized her yesterday during her heart checkup. Then today, when I opened your wallet and saw the family photo..." She looked back at Daniel. "I finally knew who you were." Daniel glanced at Lily, then back at Sophie. "So all this time, you've been caring for the most important person in my life," he finished quietly. Sophie lowered her eyes. "There was one more reason I wanted to return your wallet personally." Daniel's heartbeat quickened. She took a slow breath before speaking. "Lily's condition is more serious than she lets you see." The smile disappeared from Daniel's face. "What aren't the doctors telling me?" Sophie looked at him with quiet compassion. "I think you deserve to know the truth before Monday's appointment changes everything."